Good afternoon. My name is Garrett Petersen, and I'm running to be your next congressman here on the South Shore. I grew up in Central Islip with a single mother who worked three jobs in order to put a roof over our heads, and at times we had to rely on food banks. It wasn't easy. I went to Stony Brook and Dowling for my education. I met my wife at Stony Brook, and we began to build a life together. And now we have two children, and we've built a very, very comfortable home for ourselves. I dedicated my professional career to helping folks with developmental disabilities, some of Long Island's most vulnerable people, to live their best possible lives. That mission of service and my kids are the reasons why I'm running. I've made my life's work to help people, and that hasn't changed. I want my kids to not only have the same chances and opportunities that my wife and I had growing up, but also the same freedoms and the same security, and that is very clearly under attack right now. The fight ahead isn't going to be easy, but it's worth fighting, both for Long Island's future and for the future of America. We need somebody who is unafraid to stare down MAGA at a protest, who's ready to support those protesting their school's draconian, unfair treatment of their LGBTQ classmates. And we need somebody who's willing to take the fight to Trump's local MAGA cronies. We also need somebody who knows what it's like to be an ordinary person here on Long Island, to worry about your electric bill, to worry about how you're going to pay for childcare or how you're going to pay for your son's summer camp. That is a lived experience for all of us here on Long Island. Fixing this mess isn't going to be easy, but nothing worth doing usually is. We're going to need to be bold. We're going to need to look at what has worked in the past and what hasn't worked in the past. And we're going to have to change some things to make a 21st century Long Island worth living in. We're going to need a new reconstruction to hold the wreckers in MAGA and the Epstein class accountable for the damage that they've done to our country. To put new systems in place to protect our democracy. Things like passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, ending Citizens United, expanding the Supreme Court and the House of Representatives, and then put those guilty of crimes on trial, hold them accountable. We also need a 21st century New Deal to make things affordable for all of us. We need to invest in our infrastructure to make our energy cleaner and safer and cheaper. We need to invest in things like childcare. With both parents working just to get by, childcare becomes a necessity. We need to look at investing in raising the minimum wage, to fund public universities to drive down the cost of education, and to make things like Medicare for All happen. And finally, we need to renew the promise of the Great Society to protect the civil rights of everybody who calls America home. We need to protect the LGBTQ community and restore a woman's right to choose through legislation so a court can't just change its mind and throw 50 years of precedent out the window for a political agenda. We need to protect people with disabilities, ensuring that they can live a life of dignity without worrying if they're going to be able to afford their care. And we need to reform our immigration system. Immigration makes America great. We are a nation of immigrants. If people want to come to this country, we should make that happen. We should make that process simple, efficient, and transparent so that way people don't fall by the wayside and do things the quote-unquote wrong way. I want us to have a great 21st century, and that means we're going to need to confront the problems facing us head on. But together, we can do it. And I believe in us, I believe in Long Island, and I believe in the United States. Thanks so much. Have a great day.